Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Kat, the Nurse Flipper. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am a full-time reseller, part-time nurse, and have over 3,000 items listed. So I thought what I would do tonight is go over some of my tips and tricks with you to help you list items faster and more efficiently, which will help you get through your death pile faster if you have one. And if you don't, it will help you to process your items faster and help you make more money. So let's go. All right, so I will tell you guys, I had originally planned on doing a death pile kind of update, organization, going through it and kind of showing you how I separate things. And I might talk about that a little bit at the end of this, but I'll tell you, as far as today, I failed. I still am not feeling 100%. I've had a common cold that I'll feel better, then I'm worse, then I'm better, then I'm worse. And I keep trying to get back into doing things, and I don't know if I'm trying to get back into doing things too fast, and then I make myself feel worse again, and it's just a vicious cycle. So I made more of a mess than I organized today in my death pile. So I thought I would give you guys some tips and tricks on listing faster and more efficiently. The first thing that I do want to say is when you are outsourcing, I really think you should look at that item and know whether or not you actually want to list it. And now whether you want to list it could be if you like it, or is it $50 profit? So that's going to motivate you to list it. If it is an item that isn't much profit, or you know you're not going to want to list and it's just going to get tossed into a pile somewhere, leave it at the store. Don't bring home items that for whatever reason you're not going to want to list. And that can be for a multitude of different reasons. Some people don't like selling clothes. I went back and forth about clothes over the years. Recently, I actually like doing clothes. I flat lay them and they are pretty easy to list, and I can get a bunch of them for $1. So I am okay with doing clothes, but if you hate doing clothes, leave the clothes at the thrift store. Now, if you're going to want to list it, but you're not sure exactly what it is, but it's something that's really, really cool, just kind of play through in your mind while you're at the thrift store. How am I going to list this? Is it mid-century modern? Is it boho? Is it art deco? Like, think of your keywords that might be something that would slow you down in the listing process. So that way, when you go to list it, you're like, oh yeah, I was going to put this and this and this, and kind of helps the process go a little bit faster. Also know if you have what you need to list that item properly. So I'll give you an example. I was just listing hats. I didn't plan on doing this, but I have my styrofoam head. So when I list hats, I have this head here, and then I will just put the hat on the head, photograph the front, the side, the back, the other side, and then I take it off and I photograph the inside. So if you're listing hats, I find it easier to have the styrofoam head. I am a firm believer in spending money to get tools that will help you make it easier to list in your business. Like if you're listing jewelry, having a necklace stand, having a bracelet holder, having earring stands, things like that are going to make your listing process go so much faster. So like that styrofoam head, I think was like $10, and most of the jewelry stands are under $10 as well. So investing in these items makes it easier for you to list more efficiently. If you're having to spend a ton of time to like get that hat to sit just right when you could just have that styrofoam head to put it on, you're wasting time, and time is money, which is why buying the right tools is essential. Now, I also like to batch like items. So if I'm gonna do hats, I'm kind of looking at what's on my counter here. When I do hats, I'm gonna pull like all of the hats that I can find. And I do batches in batches of 10 typically. I will take the photos and I will just batch photo 10 items. Once I am done, then I will go sit on the couch and list, or I can stay in here at the computer and do it if I want. I do all my listing from my phone. But then I've got those pictures. So like if we're running to the store and my husband's driving, then I can list items on the way to the store. So having photos in your phone kind of is a backup. Like if you're at work, I use my lunch hour sometimes to list. If you're in traffic, I don't hit much traffic where I'm at, but if you're in a big city where you're sitting and like 5 o'clock traffic stopped, you could list like 1, 2, 3 items depending on how bad the traffic is. And that's time that otherwise you would just be sitting there. So finding times to list and having those photos already in your phone is pretty essential to getting a little bit more done. Now, my photo stand is actually right behind my camera, and I have to stand up to photograph. So I don't want to like stand up, take a picture, do a listing. That is how I used to do it. And if that's what works for you, do it. But I find doing 10 photos or 10 items of photos, it's obviously going to be a lot more than 10. But doing all of those photos and then being able to go sit and relax somewhere and do my listings has helped me be a little more productive. And when I do my pictures, I also add in measurements. So you can take a tape measure if it's a plate or if it is a necklace, something that you need measured. I have my tape measure right here. I take a picture, and I actually have been leaving the picture with the tape measure in my listings as the last photo, so that if people ask the size, even though most of the time I do type it into my item specifics, I can say, oh, hey, look at the photos. I took a picture of it with the tape measure, and that way they can see. And another tip, I do not do this because I am pretty good at gauging the weight after having done this so long. You can take a picture of your item sitting on the scale. So that way you're like, oh, hey, what did that hat weigh? Was it 6 ounces or was it 9 ounces? Oh, look, I took a picture of the hat on the scale. Then you know what it weighs. You have got pictures with the tape measure. So you should have all of the information that you need to list it without having the item in front of you. Now, another thing before I am actually listing, so if I have 10 hats, and depending on where they were bought, so if some were from the thrift store, some are from garage sales, some might be from online estate sales, there might be different things I need to do to them. One is going to be to take off stickers. So I was trying to see if I saw my Scotty peeler here. I do not. Oh, it's right in front of me. Having a Scotty peeler, this is a great tool to take off like price tags off of items. I do have these in my Amazon store. I'll link that in the comments below. I've got like all of the tools that I use for listing, photographing, shipping, everything all in one like little Amazon store. So having that Scotty peeler there. Also, I have a heat gun. I have Clorox wipes that I keep here. Those help get some of the sticky residue off. I don't always use Goo Gone. It's so greasy. I will try and get the residue off just with the Clorox wipe. So that works for cleaning and sanitizing. And it also works for getting the goop off. And I will process those 10 items. So what I do is I will typically go into the back, which is where my unlisted inventory is, and I will pick out 10 items and I lay them out on the counter and I count until I get to 10. And then I'm going to look at them and say, okay, do I need to clean this? Do I need to take a sticker off? Do I need to... If you were an ironer, I am not an ironer. I will tell you, I list all my clothes wrinkled. I know a lot of you do like steam them. So if the items need to be prepped in some way, do that first. Have them laid out. You've got 10 items. Now you've taken your stickers off, or as far as marker written on the bottom, I will try to remove it. If not, I make a black mark over it in Sharpie. I do not fight with stuff for a long time. You've got to think, if this is a $5 or $10 profit, how much time do you really want to put into cleaning it? So keep that in mind. Also, with researching, guys, don't spend hours researching something that might only be worth $20. Now, if you think it might be worth $100, then it's okay to take a little more time. But what I have gotten used to doing is I will search for 5 or 10 minutes for a typical item, and if I don't find it, I'm just gonna look for something similar. And then I will sell similar. I will change what I need to change. And if I paid $1 or $2, I might price it at 15 or 20. Or if I think it's outstanding, I might price it at 50 bucks because it's not gonna hurt to try. And I get comments all the time, how do I get so much? Because I ask that much and I have the only item like it. So there's nothing else really setting the bar for the price on a lot of my items because they are one-off. I'm not gonna take hours researching. If I spend $1, I make 30, I'm a happy camper. Now, if that item was worth 200, then good for the person who got it, but I still made 30 bucks, and that's kind of the bottom line for me. And I think that's something you need to remember, because if you're spending hours doing any part of the listing process, if you're not selling $500 or $1,000 items, you're wasting your time. And you need to be okay with your listing being okay. It doesn't have to be outstanding for it to sell. You just need to represent it correctly with good photographs, make a good title, make good keywords. Again, I will impress upon you, use as much of those 80 characters as you can. Don't have short titles. Put in words that will help people find your item and it will sell. It doesn't have to be like the most outstanding listing. Most people aren't going to read descriptions, and half the time they don't even look at all the pictures, which is kind of frustrating. But I would like to take just a moment to say I really appreciate you watching me. It really does mean a lot. Take a second, hit that thumbs up, leave me a comment below to let me know what you think, and definitely subscribe if you have not subscribed. I really do appreciate you watching, so let's get back to the video. Now, another thing is making sure you have your photographing area. I have white photo paper and I use 2 LED lights to do my photography. Or if I'm doing smalls, I actually have a tiny little jewelry light box that I can set on my lap in the living room. So make sure you kind of have your space. You can see that roll of paper there. I actually roll that paper down and have a mannequin that I use for photographing scarves or bigger items that need that white background. That's a big roll of photo paper hanging up there. So having different areas for different types of items. I do my blankets, and most of my clothes are done on the floor. I take pictures of them on the carpet and use a background eraser. So that's where grouping your items really comes into handy, because I'm not gonna want to pull that paper down for 1 or 2 scarves. I would want to have at least like a batch of 10 to pull that down, go get the mannequin, and that's a lot of time to spend for 1 or 2 listings. So if you group them in groups of 10, that can help you photographing 10 all of the same type or that needs the same kind of background. So once again, like the hats, I will have the head here, and I only had, I think, 3 hats yesterday, but put the head out, did that. I had shoes here, so I had boots that I listed yesterday. I had paper to stuff the boots. So you need to kind of think of, what am I gonna need to do this listing? Shoes, I stuff paper, I have some cardboard inserts, and it really depends on what you're selling and what you're listing. But if you find yourself going to get the same type of thing, like paper to stuff the shoes, go ahead and already have that paper sitting there waiting for you when you get ready to list those items. And then when you are done, put them into your inventory system. This is my worst. I will tell on myself here. I have a counter full of items right here next to me, and I have a cart back there full of items I've listed but not put away. So then when they sell fast, I'm like, oh, like, where is it? And I mean, it can only be in a couple of places, but I need to get better at actually taking the stuff out to the listed sheds. I am working my way through it. That is some of what I was trying to do today in the video that I was going to show you. I am trying to make it where we can start to like list a banker's box full and put it back in the back of this shed, which will make it a lot easier when we're not having to go outside and go to the other sheds. But it's going to be a process, and the stuff that's in those sheds will have to sell in order for me to kind of swap places if I'm wanting to have unlisted inventory out in the other sheds and my listed in here. All of my listed is not going to fit into the shed because I have over 3,300 items right now, plus a lot more, but I can start moving some of it into this shed. So today I was trying to go through, and this is kind of a whole like tip on your death pile. I was trying to go through my stuff and say, okay, this can get donated. This my niece can list, because some stuff I have to list because I know what it is. But if it's got a brand or if it's got a SKU like a UPC, then my niece can look it up. Or if it's a book with a title or clothing with a name, my niece can look it up, and I can kind of delegate that out, and I can focus on these items that, like my glass items only, I might know, oh, that's a swung glass vase, or hey, that's a soapstone trinket box. I'm just trying to think of examples here. So if you do have someone helping you list, then kind of separate out the items that they might be able to help you list. And for me, it created a big mess. So I think for me, what I need to do is be prepared to actually list when I'm going through, and what I'm going to list, I list. And then the other stuff for my niece, I'm going to put it into a box for her to list, because what's happening is she comes over and I'm like, oh, let me find something for you to list. I would rather have like boxes and maybe put a post-it note on it, like, here, Skylar can list this, and also boxes and say, hey, Kat, you need to list this. And I just need to focus on listing a box at a time. I wanted to like do a bigger organization, and I got absolutely nothing done except for making a bigger mess in the shed. And I don't know if it's because I'm not feeling well, so I'm definitely not performing at like my peak self, or if it's just a little too much. And it's definitely easy for it to get overwhelming. But I think if I had been like, okay, here are 10 items I can list myself, let me go ahead and list these and put them back up, then I would have made a little more progress. And I did pull some big items out to place on Facebook Marketplace as well. I haven't gotten any hits on those. So with that stuff, I'm going to have to think, because it is stuff that is semi-valuable, you know, like $20, $25. Maybe let it sit for a week on Facebook Marketplace and then say, okay, I'm gonna let it go. And letting stuff go has been the hardest thing for me to do. I would like to get it where when I am buying auction lots, which is going to be a while from now before I'm doing that again, because I have so much, I want to process it as soon as it comes in. And I was talking to Dagny about this, Flying Pig Thrifts, because she does a lot of auction buys as well. And what I need to do is, okay, here is the box lot. I bought it for X, Y, and Z. Let me pull this stuff out, so I know I want that for sure. And then let me see if anything else in here is valuable. If it's not, it's going to the thrift store. It's going to get redonated. It's not going to stay here, because I tend to keep stuff that is like $5 or $10, and then I have this massive pile of thousands of items that may or may not be worth something. And at this point, I don't know, because there's so many. So I definitely, once I get through the death pile, want to have some sort of like system. I know Julian has his big long table, some sort of system where we process the items as they come in from auction. Like I can process it into, okay, my niece can list this, I can list this, and this needs to go back, so that that stuff that is not worth listing never makes it into my unlisted inventory section. It just goes right back out. So hopefully that is what I plan to do. I will turn this and show you guys my giant mess. So you can see these boxes here are actually thrift boxes, but down there are a bunch of bankers boxes that I was trying to organize stuff in. And now I don't even have a shipping counter for tomorrow. And tomorrow is Monday, which, by the way, I saw in my Death Pile Destruction Facebook group some people talking about sales have been slow. We are under $500 going out for Monday right now, which is half of what we normally are. But we have had some really great sales on the other platforms. So hopefully it's all going to kind of even out to our $1,000 weekend, which is our average. Not sure it's going to, but you guys have to remember it is Halloween, and even adults go and celebrate Halloween and have Halloween parties, and kids are going trick-or-treating, so not as many people are online purchasing. So it definitely could be slower because of that. So just keep that in mind. All right, I think my last tip as far as being a little more efficient and productive is list at your most productive time of the day. For me, honestly, that tends to be late night. It's either early morning or late night. Midday, I don't get as much done. I either get it done as soon as I wake up, or at like 10 or 11 at night, I'm like pumping out pictures and listings. And you might be an early morning person, you might be late night, or you might be midday, you know. You might want to get up, have your coffee, have some breakfast, and then you do stuff. But figure out when your most productive time of the day is, and use that time of day to knock out the pictures, I would say. Because, as I said before, if you have the pictures on your phone, you can take time to list while you're hanging out on the couch watching football or baseball. The World Series is on right now. I'm gonna actually take a few photos after I do this video, and then I'm gonna go sit and watch the Braves in the World Series. So do your pictures and make sure you get those done. Figure out how many items for you. I do them in batches of 10. You might want to do them in batches of 3 or batches of 5. Whatever works for you. You have to figure out your own system and see what works for you. So I hope this was helpful. I have rambled on enough. Again, I wanted to do this really awesome, look at what I accomplished in my death pile video, and I failed. Again, still not feeling 100%. Hopefully I will be able to get back on track soon. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget that tomorrow is the eBay store reviews, and that is for members of the channel, paid members that are at the $1.99 or higher level. We will be doing the store reviews. I have already posted on the community page on my YouTube channel. If you missed it, go look on those community page posts and put your store link if you would like a store review, or you can just come and hang out and watch. If you haven't checked out the different memberships, definitely check those out. Tuesday we are going to have Real Nifty Vintage and Fatbird Finds on, and my co-host Julian will be back, so definitely join us and set reminders for Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and feel free to leave your tips for helping to list more proficiently and more effectively down in the comments so everybody can read. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Happy Halloween. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
What's up in the hands? He's gonna get you.